Oh, hey guys, how you doing? I wanted to show you something here. Now this company may not like this, but it is what it is, you know. Lightly salted potato chips. This is basically poison to the human body, okay? Yeah, you shouldn't be doing this, alright? But there's a creature that I found that likes it. Alright? You want to go with the... If you're looking for long-term survival on planet Earth, because I'm pretty sure you're Earthlings, yeah, incorporate a ketogenic diet, alright? Now, there's some creatures here I want you to see. See these creatures? They're also Earthlings, but they seem to love this stuff. Yeah. Little mixed batch of bantams. They're just little characters. Let's look in the box here. Oh, look at this thing here. What are you doing, girl? What are you doing? She's in a trance mode here. Let's see what she got under here. Sorry, girl, we're kicking you out of your bed. She had a little attitude. She cussed me out. You know what she called me? She said, "You friggin' pervert! You look like Joe Biden." That's what she said on the way out. I'm sorry. God, I hope I'm not looking like Biden, but maybe I am. I got the white hair going on. So what are we gonna do here? We just clean this mess out. I have brand new fresh chips here. So what I'm creating something. Obviously I'm creating some eggs, but what else is old Steve-O doing here? Besides cleaning crap out of a box. I do this about every 3 days too, by the way. You need to do it about every 3 days, because if you don't, you're gonna have mite issues in here and everything. And if you do see some mites, get some diatomaceous earth and throw that around in here. That diatomaceous earth just is wonderful. It's good for you too. I do a tablespoon, not quite a tablespoon, about a teaspoon and a half or so per day in 8 ounces of water. Excellent, excellent, excellent thing to help kill parasites in your guts. And it's great for your skin. You guys know how beautiful my skin is, right? Oh, stop it. Oh, it's great for nails, it's great for your bones and everything. So there you go. That's what we got there going on. So the girls are happy. Now what are they doing here? I'm dragging them along. As you can see, that bed over there is slap full of weeds. It is just weeding up. The weeds are growing fast as I can drag this tractor. I'm dragging this tractor along here. And, but there's something in here. There's something in here that I've created. I've created biochar. But to be really good with biochar, I've been putting it in this ground here, and all three of these boxes here for the last 7 years. And what the beauty of biochar is, it is charcoal. If you put biochar under a microscope, it's got holes all in it. Well, what happens, the microbes go inside, it sucks it up like a sponge. And as the plants need it, it comes out to the plant roots. Who invented all this? Probably extraterrestrials, but they're claiming that the extraterrestrials, it's getting hot, sweaty, showed the Mayan Indians how to make Terra Preta. Terra Preta is a man-made dirt, okay? Now what do we got going here? Butternut squash. Now I went to my favorite grocery store and I bought a big old butternut squash. Oh, there's a fruit. There's some more blooming action coming here. It's starting to happen, guys. It's starting to happen. There's a fruit there. So, the Mayan Indians, for thousands of years, and they really don't know how far they go back. They're still finding out. They are still discovering temples and stuff down there. Now, I was down there in the 70s because I had to go. I was in the military and I went down there for jungle training. Panama Canal Zone, okay? That whole friggin' place down there is nothing but a reddish looking Georgia clay looking stuff, okay? And this, everything grows like crazy in the soil. I can't believe it. The only thing I'm putting in here, guys, is some compost. What them chickens are putting out, and those shavings, pine shavings, they will grub that right into the soil. And what you start getting, this stuff isn't really super Terra Preta looking soil yet. When you finally get it, it's almost coal black, the soil. But you just keep adding a little bit. You top dress with the biochar. And those beehives I've been making, for years I was taking the wood, as I told you before, was cooking it down. I got a barrel sitting over there, and I had another barrel inside of a barrel, but I can't source those barrels anymore, so I've got to get creative and figure out something else to do with it. I will come up with something better, but yes, what you do is you create this biochar, but see, it's chunky. The stuff's chunky, not good. You need it hammered into a powder, basically. I came out here yesterday and sprinkled Epsom salt. There's a little Epsom salts right there. Just prior to this rain, we had a bunch of rain coming here today, and so I got to get out here busy and get this. I got a little nut grass going here, and keep the weeds back away from my butternuts. But I bought that big squash. I picked out the prettiest squash I found down there, brought it home, split it, took all the seeds out, put them in a screen, you know, sieve, and just really ran the water over and got all that slime off them seeds. And then I set them all out on wax paper to dry with a little fan on them for 2 days. And then I started cupping them up in little 3-ounce plastic cups that I melted some holes in it. And I made those little seed starting cups. There's a nice big bloom there with a fruit coming on it. So anyway, yeah, I put those up. I put like 50 or more up, and then I had 100 or so seeds, so I've given them around to the neighbors here, so everybody's in the neighborhood here is growing this butternut squash. So it's coming along nice. But what I wanted to show you was this soil. It's a man-made soil, and this is really something that our agriculture department needs to be thinking about. Instead of all this man-made fertilizers and stuff that we're doing, we need to be thinking about Terra Preta in this country. Because them people fed thousands, millions of people down there in the Amazon. That stuff down there is nothing but like Georgia red clay all through the entire Amazon down through there. So the Indians had to come up with something pretty cool. And nobody really knows how they came up with it. But what they did, they cooked down wood, hardwoods, and made the charcoal, and then they used compost, animal manures, probably human manures and stuff to create Terra Preta. And that's how they fed millions of people in that clay soil, because you can't do nothing with that soil down there unless you put something to it like they did. So they did that for thousands of years, and they also took that clay material and make like pancakes out of it, and they probably fired it in with when they were making their biochar to make a hard like ceramic plate, and then they would bust them up and take them shards and blend it in with the clay. So now you've got voids in there, you've got the charcoal in there, you've got the compost in there and whatnot, and then slowly over time, there's farmers down there farming on that stuff, and some of that stuff is 5 feet thick over hundreds and hundreds of acres of man-made soil. It's mind-blowing what those people did. And the farmers say they don't even fertilize. They don't have to fertilize nothing. Now what I'm doing here, I take a 5-gallon bucket and I catch fish. All of my fish, heads, guts, backs, go into a 5-gallon bucket, and whatever thickness that material is in there, I add that much molasses. And I put one of those, it's a sealable lid, I put the lid on it, snap the lid on, I mix it up, and then I put one of those wine poppers on that holds the outside air from coming in, and that way you don't get flies and stuff into it, maggots in there. And you just let that rot down for a couple months. Then you run it through a sieve screen, and then take out all the bones and fish scales and whatnot, and then you mix that up and you put about 1.5 tablespoons per gallon of water and go around, shake it up and go around and hit your plants with it. But I was online yesterday, and the guys I like to see operate are these cannabis guys, and the guy was talking about biochar. He was a hippie that's been doing it for about 20 years growing cannabis, and he's gotten quite a name for himself, all the different strains. And then the other cool thing, he was making Terra Preta and using biochar, but you have to add amendments to it. And he says, you know how if you want really sticky buds, that's what the cannabis growers are always talking about, sticky buds. That's the resin in the flower. He said you add honey. So they are mixing honey in with that to help feed, give them the carbohydrates to feed the organism in the biochar. So they get loaded up, this charcoal gets loaded up with those microbes, and as the plant needs it, it sucks it out of it. Once you harvest your crop, all the micronutrients in the soil goes back into the biochar. Very cool. So that's what I'm working on to get this stuff crushed down. A lot of guys are using tree chippers and all kind of craziness. I'm thinking about for the home operation, taking a 55-gallon drum and cutting a door out of it. I'm putting a live shaft through it, probably 3/4, and I've got a 5 horsepower motor that actually runs my catfish line on that boat right there. I've got 2,000 feet of main line I run on that catfish line that drags that line in. I'm thinking about taking that motor, it's got a 30-to-1 gear reduction box on it, and load up my cooked down biochar in the big chunks, throwing in that drum, and then adding some stones to it, like river stones. And I might put a couple cross members in there, 2x4 cross members to bounce off of that. I'll show you that as we build that contraption and get that in operation. But that's a project coming up I want to get done, so we can take this biochar and pound it into a powder. That's what you want. I got a little lazy with this program here. I was doing different things to crush it up, but it was very labor intensive. If I come up with this drum situation, I think it's going to work fantastic. Okay guys, that's it for right now. The hives over here, these beehives over here, I was into them. I'm not tearing them apart. What we're going to do here, is wait till these things either totally collapse, so I can pick this up without getting eaten alive. Take this lid off of here. Okay, these bees are chilling, right? There's no need tearing these nests apart. All these colonies are looking just about like you see them here. There's no need tearing these colonies apart. They're either going to totally collapse or they're going to fill out. Once they fill out all 5 frames, then you go in to your colonies and evaluate them. Either convert these to an 8-frame box, deep box, or sell it as a nuke. So that's the deal on that. Alright? Okay guys, I'm going to let you go for now. Be happy. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.